Oh, there you are. Well, okay, so day 2. I am building Rook. And Rook, if you don't know what it is, let me get some stuff on the screen. I'll just show it real quickly. Probably I need to start doing this at the beginning of every episode. Wouldn't that be smart? Let's see. Does this work? Oh, it does work. It's so pleasant when things actually work the way they're supposed to. But if I was smart, I would have prepared beforehand. I think this will work. Let's see. I'm building Rook. It is an agent that goes with me anywhere. It currently lives in a client right here in this window, but I guess I can do this too. iPhone mirroring. Is that safe? Of course it's not safe. It's totally showing everything I had from before. Let's see. It also lives on my phone, so that's cool. I might do something like this. Ooh, and it's actually showcasing what I meant to show. If I jump into a new environment with Rook, then an environment can be a program, it can be a website, it's a program, it can be an application, it can be a website, and soon it can be anything in real life, latitude, longitude, a store. Then you get the superpowers of that environment inside your Rook agent. And let's see if it'll actually do it this time. It didn't do it yesterday. Oh gosh, now it's being shy. Whenever you join an environment, and this might be the bug that I fix immediately today, you'll see the skills come over. It'll say, hey, here's some skills that might be useful to you, and you get a chance to review them. And then once you approve it, you get a chance to say approve it for now, or approve it forever, ignore it for now, or ignore it forever. But it's just kind of cool that you can slowly accrue skills in whatever location, whatever environment you're at. If you're at home, you can start teaching at home things. If you're at work, you can teach at work things. And presuming a community forms, the community itself can start building in skills that are useful. And eventually, if we get actually some user base, it would be cool to have partners with actual real companies that are making skills, so that websites become super duper interactive. You go to a website and you can immediately talk with it using your agent, and it'll modify the website, and slowly will transition into the internet being a place for machines and not for humans. Like eventually it'll just be any application, and the Rook goes and digs down the data that it needs. Or if you go into real life, hopefully you go into Lowe's someday, and Lowe's has partnered with Rook, or just even adhered to the protocol. It didn't need to be an official partnership type thing. This is open sourced. And you go into Lowe's, and all of a sudden your Rook knows where the store is laid out, how the store is laid out, and how to get whatever you want. So, with no further ado, I'll eat some tiramisu. My wife made this for me. It's actually delicious. So what should we do today? Well, let's see. The thing I was working on yesterday was actually quite a bit of fun. Maybe I'll go back to that. All right. Oh, okay. So on my phone, you can see whenever we go to an Obsidian environment, um, peeps in particular, where I keep my people, it will say, okay, here's different skills to let you navigate the environment. So ideally, if I go to any Obsidian vault, then all of a sudden the agent knows how to build Obsidian plugins and knows how Obsidian works in general and how to search it and how to use the Obsidian CLI. But if I go to a specific vault where I've added like specific skills, like this one where I'm keeping up with people that I've met and meetings that I've had, then you can teach it the specific skills associated with that sub environment, right? But I don't need that for the time being. Yesterday we'd done something really cool. Let's see. We created an Obsidian plugin from Rook. Basically one-shotted a to-do application where you can like drag stuff back and forth, and each card keeps track of like the transitions that you made and stuff like that. Let me put this over here, and I'm going to clean up all these. I wish you could close them all at once, but I can't. All right. Show notes. Oh, that's right. Show notes has all the stuff that we've done every day. I'm going to create a new note for day 2. Still don't know quite what I want to do with the day, so I guess I'll leave that blank for now. We might just start doing it. All right. Anyway, I can keep track of notes. Here are all the to-dos. And for yesterday, we had 3 to-dos that I thought were kind of neat. So maybe I'll take a moment and go ahead and flesh out the rest of this application, and then we can start packing it with real to-dos. All right, as you can see, it shows all the tags associated with it. It shows when it was created, what issue on GitHub it's associated with. It's got some extra stuff. I don't want quite all the extra stuff in here. You can also filter based on everything. That's kind of neat. Filter based on tags. This is a React app. Obsidian's super flexible. So I just made a React app to do this. And since everybody has built their own to-do apps, this really was a one-shot. It was just fast. I'm going to create a new agent. I also don't like kind of the workflow that I have to go through to create an agent. It's cool that I can create Pi agent, Claude agent, Cursor agent, eventually, whatever. These aren't completely wired up yet, but it's another thing I want to do. But I can go to my agent and I can create day 2 as a chat. And I could say, now soon it's going to, honest to goodness, know what environment it's walking into. But right now I have to still kind of give it a hint, or it'll start trying to work on something in the wrong directory. So look at the Rook Nanigans vault in Obsidian. My base agent knows everything about Obsidian. So it knows to look for it knows where to look to find the other vaults. Yesterday I built a plugin for keeping track of to-dos. I want you to help complete the plugin. The next task to do is to finish up some of the UI modifications that I want to make. I think I basically like everything about it except for that lower section that says latest and then shows the last transition that we made. Let's just go ahead and take that off. It's taking too much vertical real estate on the screen. Oh, I didn't notice we have a search box too. Of course it's awesome. Obsidian sure is nice, but one thing that I wish was a little bit different is that it kind of hides from you all of the cool stuff that's in here. And this, gosh, the freaking Finder also hides it from you. Let's see. So I'm going to open it in Cursor real quick, just so we can take a gander at it. We don't need my blog. All right, here's the actual plugin. Plugins, 2D board, node, all this stuff, great. Just a big fat single pager, but not terribly fat. That's not bad. Cool. This is probably the other bit. Oh my gosh, now that's a little bit too big. Whew! Huh, wonder why that's so huge. Oh, okay, it's just the compilation of everything, I guess. I don't know too much about React. spent most of my career in the data mines. So how do we open up the to-dos? All right, Rook to-dos, got it. Okay, that looks great. Now all the to-dos that we have so far are actually just placeholders while we're playing with the plugin construction. If you go to day 1 of the show notes, you can see a list of 3 different to-dos that we're interested in. Can you delete all the current tickets and replace them with those to-dos? I don't like the column setup, and I'd like to make it configurable anyways. Can we... How should we do it? Make a configuration file at the root of the plugin, the to-do plugin, that lists all of the known statuses, because that's what it called it. I called it a status for whenever a triage to do. And then basically the config file is going to say here are the statuses in the order that they go in for all the known statuses. If I create a new status, then something in the code should modify that config file. And if all the... Yeah, that's probably good. Well, how do I want to do that? If a column has no cards in it, then instead of a 0, um, at the top right of the column, we can just make it an X. And if I exit, I'm closing the column, and that needs to change the config file by deleting that status. And if I create a card with a new status that we have never seen before, it should automatically add it to the far left. Let's start there. I feel like there's something else I was going to do with that.
Status config is wired up.
Whatever. All right, good deal. Let's see what it looks like. All right, yeah, so I don't want that for this little to-do board, but I do want to do in progress review. Don't need that one. Done. Print the config file right now. All right, cool. And what if I was to go in here and it's a Rook to do. Instead of being status in progress, I do a misspelling of it. Yep. So currently it's a little bit annoying to have to go back in here and do that. And it did just change the config file. We still got that. Yep, that's fine. So it's not terrible. Okay, so we want to make this addressable by the agent, obviously. So it's time to make a bunch of things to search and filter and mass edit and create new. Why didn't I tell that to my agent? Let's brainstorm for a moment. I want to make several, I want to make a CLI tool associated with this so that the agent can modify the cards, edit them, search for them, and generally do whatever a human would do with these cards. So list out as a bulleted list the various tasks a human might do with the cards in a to-do list. Think CRUD, C-R-U-D, but also bulk operations as well. That's a hell of a lot of stuff. Create a little bit more simplistic list and also number the items rather than bullet them so I can tell you which ones to implement. All right, I'll start covering the ones that we should implement. My wife is making stuff. Guess I'll close that door. Okay. This is going to be basically just a CLI, a CLI tool in the same place as the TODO plugin. Boy, folks, words come hard some days. And I'm going to go down this list and just tell you what I think about each of these items. For number one, it should have all the affordances to create a card with the title and the text and the tags. Obviously, maybe you'll think of other things. This is silly. It's a to-do list, right? It's just going to get it right, most likely. Yeah, I think it is just going to get it right. I want you to do number one with all the affordances to create the pieces of the card. When we read or view a card, this is in Obsidian, so just open that card. Ideally, open it without having to use the Obsidian CLI. But if you have to use that, then let's brainstorm a little bit, because people might not have that plugin available. Edit a card makes sense. Delete a card makes sense. As a side note, rather than actually deleting the card permanently, we probably just need to give it a special status of deleted. I don't know, what do we want to do? Yeah, that's probably good. Just do that. Which isn't represented in a column. In the UI. All right. List card, search charts. I don't want to have both a list cards and a search cards endpoint for the CLI because they're like the same thing. But you should be able to search based on text in the title, text in the description. You should be able to search based on the tags. You should be able to search based on the path of the to-do. And the output won't contain the descriptions. It'll just contain the title and the created date and the last touch date and the tags, but not the description because that's too much content. Oh yeah. You can search based on all these things. Path. You can also search based on the created date and touch date, using like a date filter. The search, well, all of the parameters to search by should have special syntax for actually doing the search. But like probably prefix it by like title colon or description colon or tag colon. The date ranges can be like created at colon, and then you can have some syntax for greater than or less than particular date. But if there is no prefix like title colon, then it's assumed to search for text anywhere. All right, where are we at? The only thing that we have to do to add a new status or a column is by creating a new to-do with that column. So I don't want to have a CLI command for that just yet. Same thing with removing columns. I think I'll do that manually. Renaming a status is also unnecessary, because maybe what I would do is just to say modify the to-dos, and then that effectively is the same thing as renaming the status. Ooh, one thing I just figured out is, like, all these modifications I'm doing, it's thinking in terms of a React application, but really all this stuff is still very much backed by the actual documents. So I can, do that, and ooh, it doesn't automatically re-update. That's interesting. What if I just move it over here? Okay, so it just didn't notice it. Well, note to self. Oh. I'm getting all interested in this TODO app rather than actually working on my agent. But I've got some tricks up my sleeve for the agent soon, so I want to make this a reasonably good app. All right, where are we at? Okay, status stuff. I'm going to restate all that stuff. For most of these status things, maybe all of them, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, the way that we would modify the statuses of the to-do app is actually just to modify the statuses of the to-dos. So it's pretty easy to make a new column or delete a column. And it's rare enough I don't want the agent to be working on stuff like that, because the to-do app is for the agent and the human to participate in, but the human should have the highest level executive decisions to add and remove columns. And the way to do it anyways is to just change the status property inside the various to-dos. So ignore those. Add or remove tags is just like editing a card. And basically, for number 3 and number 12, we don't need a CLI command for those. So I've decided to ignore those as well, because this is Obsidian. So we might want to make a note in the help text to just say that, just that, like, this is an Obsidian vault. So if you want to make changes in stuff like status or tags or whatever, then directly edit the cards. Not the cards. The notes is what they call it in Obsidian. Okay. Same thing with 13. Now, what to do about bulk editing? Yeah. Same thing really with the bulk editing and bulk moving cards and bulk deleting cards. We need to make a note of why these CLI commands are not available because, again, this is an Obsidian Vault, and if the user wants to move things, then we can just edit the status of all those cards. So a common behavior for the human, the user, might be to use search in order to get the cards that they're interested in working with. And then they can say for that batch of cards, move it to another column. But when they say move it to another column, you just go to each one of the corresponding notes and modify the status. One thing I'm puzzling with right now, though, is there is an Obsidian CLI that actually does some of this cool stuff, and maybe I should require of the users to actually use the Obsidian CLI. Because, for example, these notes, like for right now, there's not that many notes. But if you have a giant Obsidian Vault, then doing some of these actions in bulk, like a search in bulk even, would be something that you wouldn't want to do with like just rip grep. And a way we could do it is have the CLI to actually call out to the Obsidian CLI. So the TODO CLI call out to Obsidian CLI, and you could error out and say, hey, you don't have Obsidian CLI installed yet. It's not unreasonable. Well, crap. What can Obsidian CLI do? Now I'm all confused. What all can the Obsidian CLI do? Oh, of course, it's a bazillion of things. Create, reader, delete. notice this pattern a lot with OpenAI's models these days. I wonder why. Wow, this thing's pretty awesome. No. All right. I think I'm just going to keep the CLI pretty thin, and if you happen to have the Obsidian official CLI as well, it can make some of these bulk operations I'm leaving out more useful. I think I'm going to keep this to-do CLI pretty thin, and in the help text, we want to remind the agent that's probably going to be the user of this that installing Obsidian CLI is a good way of getting bulk operations and faster search potentially. The show summaries counts by status. Go ahead and roll that into the search cards tool. Man, I'm just kind of leaning towards just using Obsidian CLI for all this stuff. And then there will be a skill associated with this. And we could just tell the agent, use Obsidian CLI for all these things and give it a bunch of examples. Maybe that's better. Oh, I feel like I'm going back. Crap. Actually, I've been thinking about it. Instead of building the CLI, let's check about all the items you listed and see what is possible with the Obsidian CLI. Look up the help text on that, and maybe we can actually just do all these natively with the Obsidian CLI. One of the things that I'm having trouble with today, my speech feels a bit addled. It's because every time I'm talking to the agent here, I'm realizing some stuff in my head about how Rook itself should work. So right now I'm getting ready to create a CLI that goes with the plugin. And maybe I'm getting around it right now. But, oh wait, I could do this. I'm also thinking about how to run this show. So the thing that's confusing me right now is as I'm talking to the agent about how to create this plugin and a CLI for the plugin, eventually when the Rook agent hops into an Obsidian, it needs to know that creating a to-do list is like a thing that you can even do. So that's going to have a skill associated with it. And somehow this agent needs to know how to be able to write into that skill. And so I think we need it kind of mapped out on disk somewhere. The agent needs to know where these freaking skills live so that it can write them. And what if you go into an environment and there exists a whole application that you can download for that environment? I walk into Lowe's and it should, Obsidian Rook could say, hey, here's some skills for Lowe's. But it could also say, here's some skills for Lowe's and here's an app that you can use for Lowe's that I work really well with. That'd be kind of cool, right? So whenever an agent enters an environment, the environment manager knows how to look up skills in a thing that we're calling the environment repository. And every environment has a unique identifier, which could be a physical location, loc:/Lowe's.com/store123. It could be a website, web: and then the URL. It could be an app, which on the Mac is going to be app: and then the package name. I forget what it was. But the agent's going to be able to look up any skills associated with that environment and offer them to the Rook. But there's so many other things that could be part of that. And like, what do you do with that initial handoff? It's not just like, here's the skills. It could be, here's the MCP servers you need to sign in. It could be, here is an application. Do you want to download it? And they need to be packaged up so that you only get something that functionally works together. Like you might say, these skills are good, but I don't want that application. And then it just like the skills are assuming the application is going to be there. So that would be no good. All right, the agent's finished. Let's keep going. we can do that. We can create a card with Obsidian CLI. Of course, you can open and read it. You can edit a card partially. Yeah, I don't really want to edit it with the CLI. We can false delete a card. Does the list and search capability at least cover all the ideas I had, even if the syntax is not what I wanted? Also, what is the output of doing an Obsidian search? And if you don't know, then you can just try applying Obsidian search to this vault as an example. I need to make the text bigger so that you guys can read this, don't I? Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Hmm. All right, what can we do with Obsidian CLI search? So here's what I'm thinking. We should create an agent skill. Don't you have a skill that teaches you how to create agent skills? And I think it's going to say yes. Uh-oh, that's just going to delete the screen. Oh no, that's a bug. Yeah, I've noticed some bugs after there's too much text. Something changes. Do you know what environment you're in? This is a huge problem. The Rook doesn't know what an environment is. Yep. Yep. See, this is actually where I am. This is where the code for the agent lives. Okay, I tell you what. Rather than create a CLI, I want you to create a new to-do list item, which is to create a skill. And in the contents of that, I want you to explain roughly what we're doing in very terse terms, and then sketch out the body of the skill text inside there. It's just going to be just the main skill.md. Tree, what? Well, that's going away. Oh, cool. Oh, interesting. Well, let's look at it before I fix that. Okay, with what you learned about Obsidian CLI, remove that tag from everywhere. Another thing that this makes me think about is how in the topology of environments, the application Obsidian is an environment. But within that, the application Obsidian, let's type it up. Here's the way we're actually encoding the environments. App colon, it's actually com.obsidian is the way the packages work with Macintosh. So that's an environment. But another environment is this actual vault. But weirdly, there's I'm not sure why I'm doing that. There's also like aspects, like within Obsidian, an aspect of some of the vaults might be has to-dos. I don't know what to do about that yet, because I really, for this notebook, I want to have all of these environments woken up. I don't want to have like an extra environment with skills hanging off to the end of it, because each one of these things on disk represents a directory, really. And I don't want to have like redundant skill files every time someone is using that. I mean, I think it's doable. What we've got so far in environment repositories supports the notion of like that. You could totally do that. To be determined. Okay, I want you to move that new to-do that you created to in progress. We'll work on it now. So here's the deal. It's going to move it and we're not going to see it because this does not update. This will change though. Yep, in progress. Oh, wow, it did do it. Okay, let's jump into like an aside briefly. I noticed a bug in a feature that I want to deal with for the to-dos. If I grab a card from the to-do column and I drag it vertically higher or lower into the to-do column, then I want it to keep track of the position that it's in, and I do not want it to register another transition. How do you recommend we deal with this? We definitely don't want the React app to have to keep track of state or have its own little database. I don't want any crap like that. Yep, I was thinking about adding another field for board order. That's interesting. So basically it's saying introduce a new property up here called board order, and instead of like 1, 2, 3, 4, give it like numbers in the thousands, so that if you put something between it, it'll be 1,500. That way you don't have to like rewrite all the cards. I think it's a pretty cool idea. Right now, how is the application establishing the current order? And when the application is drawing the board, how is it efficiently finding all the cards? Is it doing like a brute force search of the entire vault? Crap, it probably is. How is it doing it that? Where is all that state stored? Is this stored in something that exists already in Obsidian, or are we reinventing it? Ah, okay, good, good, good. How are you reading Obsidian's metadata cache? Oops, bug. Hmm? Uh-oh, I can't highlight stuff. That's annoying. Oh, okay, cool. Wow. Oh, okay, that's right. I'm being dumb. It's not just a pure Reddit app. It is an Obsidian plugin, and from day one, yesterday, it knows to look up how to make Obsidian plugins. Okay, okay. The world is sane again. So good. It is doing this efficiently. Which also means that we can fix some things around. Okay, great. In that case, I want you to... What do I want you to do? Dang it. Implement the idea that you came up with for determining the vertical offset of the tags. keep coming up with little things that bother me about Rook itself, and I'm missing a good opportunity to be creating more issues. And one of the things that's bothering me is we're very single-threaded right now. Like, that's not the way people work these days. They have scores of these agents. And I need tabs. I want to like tab over. Right now, I want to tab over to the working on Rook tab instead of the working on the to-do plugin tab. And I want to say, let's add a new issue to Rook. Or I want to fork this one into a new tab and be like, okay, shut up with the to-dos. I just noticed something with the context of everything above you. Let's do that. Ah, gosh. So how do I... Right now, you can't do that. And that's the very thing I want to report. All right, I'm going to go to...
Card reordering is implemented.
Hello. Oh, dead. Well, shoot. I've forgotten how things work. All right. So really the base agent underneath here is the same agent that I've got running in Pi directly right here. Although this is running OpenAI, pretty sure. Yep. I'll go back to OpenAI for this one as well. Using GH, let's create another issue for Rook. Right now, it's only possible to look at one agent at a time easily. And I think we need to have the ability to create tabs at the top of the agent chat screen to hold multiple named agents. For example, one agent could be working on one project, and then I can spin up a new agent and have it working on a different project or different aspect. I can also take a current tab and I can fork it right where it is, so that I can start talking to it in another tab. Yeah, create a new issue for that. Do a quick search first though and make sure it's not already up there.
Created the tabs issue.
In issue 46, mention issue 52 so that they're connected. Actually, what does it look like? Yep, this is related to that. And so this one says listed in 2. but it doesn't say anything about, well, okay. Yeah, I guess that's sort of counts. All right, we got it working now. Boop. Crap. There must be a bug. Let's see. Can I reload it though? Reload app without saving. Done. Oh yeah, I mean it's already doing that, so. Because if I drag a card from the top of the to-do column to the bottom or to any other location, then it says an alert that it has modified the position, but nothing actually changes. Please, oh please, just figure it out. Okay, make another issue. How should I do this? Probably we don't need a new issue for what you just created. Instead, delete the issue you just created and go back to 46 and just make it a bulleted list of all the things that we want to do with it. And make a note at the top that each of these are probably complex enough that we might want to open up sub issues. But it's not, right? Because you can just take an agent and say, screw it, do all these things. So tersely summarize what I said and don't worry about going overboard. Also, on that same card with the UI issues, the same issue, I mean, I want to make it so that I can use Command plus and Command minus to grow and shrink the text on the screen. Another bullet is make it so that the markdown renders incrementally rather than waiting for the assistant to write the full message before rendering the markdown. Another bullet is to make the text in the markdown drag copyable, and it should copy the underlying markdown to the clipboard instead of just the raw text, if possible. You do that. Yep, it found the bug. Why did you write it in the first place? Let's see if you really found it. Boop. Oh, hell no.
Updated issue 46.
Crap, I'm gonna have to use my brain. Oh, that didn't even have a board order. That one does. Urgh. List all of the items with status to do right now. Another bullet. Actually, now this is not another bullet, another issue. See if we have any issues related to ACP compliance. That's Agent Client Protocol. Cursor and Claude show like menus and stuff. When compaction happens, like we need to know about it. See if there's any issue for that. If there is, then add this as a bullet point or a to-do. Whenever a compaction happens, then it should be represented in the Rook chat window. All right, what we got? Okay, read the offset.
Updated ACP parity issues.
Thank you. Okay, read the offset value for those cards and tell me what they say. Thousand, 1,000, and none. Actually, so if I go to these cards and I change them, oh, they need the board order in there. Right? Oh, need to do doesn't work. Quit working again for some reason. Build, make, create. Nope. So I want to be create, make, build. Create. Yeah, gosh, crap, it's still not working. I noticed one problem. If there is a missing offset, then this won't work. And another problem is it doesn't show me where the insertion point will be, and I think it just assumes that the insertion point's at the bottom or something. So make it so that I can grab the card and drop it to any position in between the other cards, and like highlight the position between the cards is like a line or something that looks like an insertion point without moving the cards on the screen. It should just kind of appear between the cards without shoving the cards around any. And there's still something wrong. All right, I got about 1 more hour, and I'm fiddling around with a to-do list. That's annoying. Everyone in the world and their mother and father have built to-do lists. I think I want to get this to a reasonable point, create the skill that we're talking about, and then figure out how to allow the rook to know that it's entered this environment and it needs this skill. All right, you think you're done, are you? Wow, why does triage keep appearing? What? Oh no, no. Gosh, okay, another bug. Has status of in progress, but on the to-do UI, it is now in a triage column. Why on earth is there a triage column there? That doesn't make any sense. Okay, I just clicked close on the triage column after moving that card to a different place. Did it correctly remove triage from the statuses? Okay, but I haven't done it yet. I'm gonna go create skill for that. That's in progress. Gosh, I can't even move it over there. Oh. Sure, fix this. It's getting warm in here. Probably proportional to my frustration. Okay, thank you. Right, so now it's in progress. Okay. So it's not in progress, it's when progress. Oh, look, that's weird. It's there. Okay, I just did a thing. What does the config say now? Okay, I just did another thing. What does the config say now? Okay, I think that's good. All right, this could go there, there. Okay, build, create, make. Build, create, make. Okay, make, build, create. Make, build, create. Okay, looks like it's working. Let's try to mess it up. What are the rules for renormalizing the board order numbering for a particular column? What happens when I move make home server over here? 0. 1,000. Gosh, there's so many stupid little bugs in this. I am wasting time. Missing order triggers normalization. Too tight. Neighbor spacing. What's considered too tight neighbor spacing? Okay, well, let's make the threshold simple. Difference is less than 1. Also, I found a bug where if I've got a column with 2 cards and I take the top card and I put it in its same space, it gets found a bug. If I have a column with 2 cards, one at offset 0 and one at offset 1,000, and I take the first card and I pick it up and drop it in the same spot, it gets renumbered as 1,000. So you have 2 cards with 1,000, which means it's impossible to put anything between them. I want to fix this, and probably the fix that we should do is just make it so if you pick up a card and drop it in the same place, that it doesn't register any change at all. And finally, and I want to make a UI change. Whenever you pick up a card, the place where the card used to be needs to look like a missing card. So it needs to take up the same size, and I don't know, maybe the easiest way to do this is to make everything in there transparent so you don't have to worry about calculating. And then make the border a dotted line. Actually. But it needs to take up the same space. So maybe the easiest way to do it is just to make every piece of that card transparent so that you don't have to calculate height or anything like that. All right, please do all those things. Wow, I actually have someone watching this live stream. Hello, Alid Crowlands.
Reordering bug and drag ghost fixed.
Are we just fond of corvids? Crowlands, I see. Yeah, Rook is an agent. So it's kind of ostensibly in the same vein as like OpenClaw or Hermes. But whereas they basically just have Pi that is accessible by a gateway, which is like you can type to it in Slack or you can call it on your phone or whatever. I'm building out a much beefier version of a gateway, a client right here that's kind of specialized, a client on my phone. Is that a good idea or not? I think maybe eventually I'll just add the other gateways just like they have too. But that's not the only difference. Rook is able to, it is your agent. So whenever you go to like the home screen here, you can choose whatever agent you've configured to work with it, not just whatever is hiding underneath it. So I use Pi a lot. I can add in my own skills, so it's very much my agent, but you can also use Claude or Cursor or whatever. More will come. It's the agent client protocol that unifies all this stuff. And then you also go into environments and you can take your agent with you. So if I'm going into my Obsidian app, then all of a sudden my agent knows everything about Obsidian, and right now it's helping me to build a plugin. But my agent also knows about this Obsidian. It's where I keep my to-dos for Rook. Everything's very meta here. And an extra cool thing is like you can take Rook and go into like real life locations. So an environment is an application or a website or even in real life. And when you pop up in like your Kroger's or something, then it can help you navigate Kroger's and find discounts and find item substitutions, because it knows Kroger's, it knows inventory, but it also knows your to-do list because it is still your agent. And so I'm kind of imagining an ecosystem of skills associated with different locations and applications and websites. Now let's resume chat. By the way, if you find me on LinkedIn or X and find my most recent post, there's a Zoom. You could actually join me right now on the Zoom, which might be fun or a disaster. All right, what have we done? If I take this and pick it up, oh, the card disappears. That's nice. Boop, boop. That's pretty cool. I'll take that. And if I take it and drop it into the same spot, oh, okay. Okay, that's pretty cool. I want create to go right in here in the middle. Show enough. Create at the bottom. That works. It's so good. All right, that's cool. For each column at the top, to the left of the number indicator, or the X button if there's no cards, make a plus button which indicates adding a new card, and make an overlay come on the screen on top of the to-dos that has just the basic things to fill in: title, description, tags, and a submit button or OK button or whatever. Oops, it didn't think I was here. And then I think I'm done. And then I'll take the rest of the 45 minutes to flesh out the skill and make my agent know about it. Yeah. Okay, so if I go to an Obsidian environment, if I go to this particular Obsidian environment, then I want it to know how to use this to-do board. That's easy enough to do. But if you go to an Obsidian environment, then it would be kind of cool for this to be in like the global specification land. And it should say, hey, you're an Obsidian and you're inside an Obsidian environment. I'm gonna give you an offer for not just the skills for Obsidian, but also like these little packages. Like, here's a package for installing this to-do plugin. That would be so cool. Come on, just please work and then do the next thing. We are editing far too many files.
Add card modal is ready.
Prove it. I don't like that style. Remove the new to-do button. That's at the top right in purple. And for the plus button and the X button, go ahead and surround it with like the light gray so it looks more clickable rather than just a character by itself. Let's check real quick. If I click on it, title, boop, description, whatever, tags, ABC. That's interesting. The triage column came back. Oh no. That must be the old. I bet I clicked that last time. Also, when I created the new to-do, it opened up that document. Don't do that. Just stay on the board screen. Also, when I created the new to-do, it apparently must have reinserted the triage column. We got to figure out why that is. Oh, please figure that one out quick. Well, that's not good.
Board create flow cleaned up.
Ah. Every time I create a card, the triage column comes back. Yeah, leave it right there. All right, I like the styling of that. Okay. Okay, I like that change. All right, so I'm going to kill this column. I'm going to reload the app. I'm going to create another one. Yep. Trace the path through and figure out why that's happening and make it so that it doesn't happen. Dang it, I thought of one other extra thing I want to do. Keep thinking of crap I want to do. Yay, okay, good. Okay. In the top right of each to-do card, create a little X button. And if I click it, it means I'm going to delete the card. And actually delete the backing note. I changed my mind about the dot status thing. This took much longer than I had hoped for. I started this at the end of day 1 yesterday, and like in 5 minutes it basically looked like this finish app. But this is kind of the siren song of all vibe coding. You get to something that looks really good at first, and then you find out it's all filled with cobwebs. And if I looked at the code, it's probably a 20,000 line file or something. But I'm not going to look at the code. This needs to just work good enough. You say it works. I just forgot to reload. That's the first time it's done that. Cool. Good enough for now. Okay, great. So now I'm actually going to start using the darn thing. Boop. Another thing, like if it's inside this environment, the Rook needs to know all the state changes. It needs to know, like next time, how would I do it? Next time that I go to write a message, it needs to see that I'm not looking at the Rook to-dos board anymore. I'm looking at create skill for this node. So that I can just say, all right, now we're going to start working on this, and it should accept it. That is tricky because it basically means that Obsidian needs a plugin. But it's not too tricky. It's basically what I'm asking of the world by building this silly beast. get rid of that for sure. Okay, let's go back to see, I have to tell it. And actually flesh out this note and the skill contents. One thing is I want you to remove every aspect of Rook nanigans or Rook. Assume that this is a generic to-do app, and so we want to make sure that the skill is generic. You'll need to add in it doesn't need to add in anything about the offsets because it's just purely handled by the app. I'm removing the notion of dot deleted. I might add something back later so that you can like still have like a hidden field for finished and done forever. And we're basically going to rewrite this skill from scratch. I want you to explain what to-dos are and explain all the fields associated with them. Explain that we're using this with a Obsidian plugin that presents the UI of these cards, and it manages certain fields like created and touched and status history. And then say basically like the user is going to interact with the UI, but the agent can also interact with the UI according to the following scenarios. And let's lay out the basic scenarios. Like if you wanted to change a column, then you just change the status of that note by directly editing the note. You can do this with Obsidian CLI or do it directly. And look up on Obsidian for this and all the following things, like how to actually do it. you can modify the contents either in Obsidian CLI, or if it's like the description, it's probably easier just to directly read the file with a read tool and write it and edit it directly rather than going through Obsidian CLI. One of the big things that the users will be interested in is doing a search, so get some examples about how the Obsidian CLI can do a search on the various fields and by fields I mean properties. Explain some of the complexity of a searching on the created or touched fields, and give an example about dealing with that. Feels like there's other stuff. I'm being stupid right now. All right, what we got? Board order is actually kind of interesting. Because the agent, I might tell the agent, put this card at the top, and it's got to do it. We should probably add some instructions about the board order, because a user might say, put this at the top of the in progress column, or put this at the bottom, or put this into location number 5 in the in progress column, something like that. And explain about how the numbering system works, and also explain what to do if the cards need to be renormalized. See, I could make a CLI command for that. That's one thing that actually sort of deserves a specific CLI command. But if it's the only one, I'll just let the agent manually figure out what the crap to do. Oh, crap. Opening a note, that's a great call. Obsidian can open a note up. When Obsidian opens a note, can it open it in a new tab? If so, let's indicate that as kind of the default behavior. Whenever the user wants to open one of the to-dos, open it in a new tab. Broad text search. For reading a card, let's not use Obsidian, just use the built-in read function tool. Oh yeah, that's true. When you update the column, when the agent updates the column, it really should update the touched in the status history. But when the agent changes the column by changing the status, it definitely needs to update the touched and status history properties. But you also need to explain how they should be edited, like what's the format. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. One thing to add to searching is that if the user wants to search for something in the contents of a to-do, the Obsidian search, I think, only returns the titles of the notes. So have the agent follow up with ripgrep to find some actual content of those files that matches. right, so how's it dealing with date searching? Sure. For date searching, rather than inspecting the front matter per file and comparing the dates programmatically, you can use Obsidian Search to just directly list the front matter of the files in that particular field, right? Property name. Double check that I'm right here, and if so, then let's use that for our strategy. But still have the agent inspect the results and compare the dates programmatically. Can Obsidian CLI do batch property changes? Oops. On the UI issue, can you add another like miniature to do to have like a pin button associated with the chat window so that it stays on top forever if I click it? For the bulk operations, I would do something, I would attempt something probably in Bash to collect all the notes and then change the status of the notes using the Obsidian CLI. Something like this might work, but you definitely need to double check me. updating the content of the card or changing its status, then make sure to if changing the status of a card, make sure to append an element to the status history. I've made these changes. Make sure that the rest of the document remains consistent with these changes. Oh gosh. I've got to get a better voice recorder thing. Sweet, we caught one. My wife installed a community library box outside, and every once in a while we catch a little kid reading books. I love it. Boop, 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 boop. Now, whatever it's doing, it shouldn't take this long. This is a bit excessive. Hmm. Hmm. This is a problem with agents. Sometimes when you edit the file that they're also editing, they get all confused. And that's not what pair programming is like. You want to work with an agent on the artifact, not to have this like secret state blindness that the agents are subject to, which gets them confused and gets you confused when it starts rewriting the entire file. Yeah, okay, so it's still doing this business. Yep, I did change that. Okay. So what did it do? Board ordering guidance. Order. it huge? It's not terrible. All right. Ooh. Didn't you tab a thing? Aha. That's cool. Yep, there's the rip grip thing. Nice. All right, cool. Let's test it out a bit first before we make a real skill with it. Using your understanding, then move this task that we're working on into progress. Oops. What are you reading? Cool. It worked. I'm not sure it worked the correct way. You did that by directly editing. Screw it, it worked. I'm not going to look a gift horse in the mouth. Is there anything else we can do? Add a tag to... This might be helpful so that you can see I'm doing stuff. There we go. Add a tag to this to do for, it's just called test for now. This is exceptionally slow. Have I done something to upset OpenAI? Cool. Move this card to position number 3 in the to-do column. Now, is it going to say 0 indexed or 1 indexed? I should have said the third position. Ah, I know something else. This is like what you can't see while all of you, 0 of you, watch me work on this, is the mental aerobics that I have to do to figure out how this is going to fit into Rook. Like an environment also needs to know how things have changed. There's a state that's associated with an environment. If you're in this to-do board environment, then you need to see when I move a card somewhere else. Is that thing we were talking about earlier? The agent needs to see what's happening around it. Now, a big question I should ask though is, could we do all that with computer usage skills? Like, so it's like it's physically looking at it, it should see it now. I don't know, maybe, maybe not. It's a lot of images that get crammed into the context, and it's not as dependable to understand really what's happening. But we'll see. All right, it did the right thing. All right, it's 6 o'clock. Do I call it? I'm about to have fun, and it's on my mind all the things I want to do. See if I can get 30 more minutes. I'm going to ask the boss. If I was smart, I would have used this right here. But I'm back. All right. So 30 more minutes to do something smart. What'll it be? What'll it be? Time to look at Rookery. I'm calling it Rookery. Boop, boop. Let's actually go ahead and put this in its real place. Get that's the home. Feels weird to do my own work at the shell. I have to think hard to remember things. Google called. They said they wanted me as a FDE, forward deployed engineer for this AI stuff. But they also said that their tests that you have to do are going to be the old leet code test. It's like, my gosh, I've forgotten programming languages. I think it would come back. All right, right now everything associated with an environment gets stuck into the environment repository set of directories. You can be an app, a place. It's supposed to be LOC, but whatever. Web, and we have skills set up for all these places, but they're basically dummy skills. I want to make a first skill for Obsidian. Yeah, right now this is the skill for how to interact with my people Obsidian. This is skill for reads. I need another directory for to-do list, but maybe a specific type of to-do list. Plugins. And I don't want my personal stuff to be mixed in with what is ostensibly supposed to be the everybody in the world repository. So let's figure that out. Day 2.1. All right, so the present working directory for all the agents right now is actually this repo. This is where it actually lives. It's been doing all that other stuff by just knowing that it has to talk to that directory. So I can just use this like a normal coding app at this point. It really, really is the same thing as just running Pi down here. But just to explore all the UI bugs and crap, I'll use my Rook. Please take a look through this. Oh. Dang it. I keep doing things and then rethinking things. Okay, I made the freaking directory. Now I need to move Arcturus Labs Rookery to the Rook's Nest Rook. Boop. Goodbye this thing. Oh, interesting. Now, what's the present working directory of that? I have no idea. I just deleted its present working directory. And close this up. So for your building Rook, Rook will now wake up in this new directory, its new home. Or it won't wake up and we'll figure out what that is. Ooh, that's interesting. Oh no. Everything's broken. Crap. Well, here's what I'll be doing in the next 30 minutes. Not fun. Oh, okay. Because the actual session files that Pi stores was stored in that repo. Day 2.2. Oh no. It's just bad. Bad, bad, bad. Not good. I killed it. Oh, trust. Yeah, right? I mean, it might already work now. I think if I just reinstall the server, it should work just fine. All right. Nope, I'm still wrong again. I don't think the client should have to care. Yeah, it's broke. I broke it. All broke. I just restarted my Rook, both the server and the Mac, using run Rook. And the client rebuilt and restarted correctly, and as far as I can tell, the server is fine too. Although I haven't done a health check, I can do that real quick. August 2000. Yeah, okay, that's fine. Yoku kiteru yo. Seikai, minasan kiteru. I love you. But whenever I am using the application and I try to create a new session, it says that there's an internal server error. So figure out what's up. Hmm. Well, if I never make Rook a real thing, at least doing this silly exercise of building in public will make me a better father. Because right now, my kids are making goofy sounds, and I'm not saying, hey, shut up, kids. So that's an improvement. That's good. Also, talking out loud with no one around is a really weird feeling. Like, are the things I'm saying funny? Probably not that funny. Or when I make a really weird long pause, like there's a lot of meta thinking that's happening right now. It's really goofy. Oh crap, we're rewriting crap. Oh no. You know what? I bet because I'm a sloppy person, there's also dirty. I bet my gets dirty. Oh, maybe not. It's changing the base agent. That's probably not what I want.
Fix session, start crash.
I bet you didn't. I really bet you didn't. I don't know if that makes any sense. Please restart whatever things need to be restarted for me.
Restarted server and app.
Okay. to create a new issue because if right now in Rook in the chat window, if I want to stop what it's doing, I have to click the stop button, which is fine, but I also want it so that I can press the escape key and it also stops doing whatever it's doing. Also, there's appears in the same ticket there appears to be a bug where the agent isn't like exactly stopping. I think the request still goes through to the model, and I need to at least make it obvious in the UI that we're stopping it, and make sure that that request doesn't get completed and saved into the session. All right, let's see what we got. This. Yeah, because that's just gone. So I expect that to not work. Day 2.2. Shite. I just tried again and I'm getting the same error. Attempt to directly interact with the agent through the server without the client, and use this. Why have I got two of these guys? Goodbye. Screenshot with a voice. I have no idea what that does. But this is useful. It's just a CLI way of interacting with agents. I guess it's technically another client. Just a really wimpy one. Dang it. Pi has chosen to spin up its own subagents. It's calling itself. That's wild.
Hi there. Hi.
So it keeps closing and opening stuff. I don't know if it's smart of me. Well, okay, maybe I shouldn't muck around with it. I know it's reading the logs too.
Fixed profile path issue.
Path issue. That could be possible since I moved everything. I should have told the agent that. Oh. That's wild. Server, where is it? Click, 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 click. Scripts, server, config. This isn't good. I don't know what that is. Yeah, okay. That looks plausible. Oh. Ah, okay. It was instantiating the underlying agent with a configuration that was set up for wherever. Boom, 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 boom. Okay, well, it's part of what I wanted to do anyways. Boom, 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 boom. I want you to set up a docs directory, and as our first documentation, I want you to have a document talking about configuration, and configuration is located in by default, and configuration is at should be one configuration file, or should there be an agent profiles config? Let's keep it separate. And then what I want you to do is move these files to that location. And set up the code to look there. Is there anything that uses this config file? Anything, any popular or even moderately popular software that uses? All right, probably that's a good idea, but I won't do it. All right, while that one's chugging, what is this file and what is its functionality? Oh, I see what's up. Okay, so I wanted the canonical website to be like wherever you go. Mm-hmm. Mm-mm-mm-mm. But in an older version of code, I had Wikipedia as the environment, like not wikipedia.com org. So it's used in Swift. Oh, that's really smelly. Couples my client to what is currently just a directory that's not even going to be served anywhere. That's just horrible. All right, crap. And it already moved that document out.
Config docs and paths updated?
Man, a lot of changes. Mm. And then after you've restarted everything, make note in agents.md that we run Rook using this command. Crap, I realized something obvious. Right now we don't have any test for the Swift components. Make an issue to add those tests. Oh, pfft. I told this to restart the agent and it's obviously died. It is the thing running with the agent. Okay, resume chat. Start server. Somebody smart made that, and I'm pretty sure it was my agent. Oop, that's a bug. I think I've already got an issue for that one though. When I create these issues, they're like whatever format. So I've got to make a skill or something for that. Yeah, see, I've moved that file over there. Ooh, it's got a... What the crap is this? But the thing is, we don't really need a site registry. I think it was just because I used to have an environment named in an earlier version of the application, and that was a illegitimate environment, and we deleted it. If my understanding is correct, then delete that file and update the code here so that it doesn't make any use of that file at all. If I'm incorrect, then explain it to me so I can fix it. What were we talking about again? Yeah, so I'm playing it really risky, doing basically two diffs in the same branch. We'll see. If it halfway works out, then fine. All right, so since it restarted, then that means it also worked. But now I've got to wait for this to finish and then commit both of these things. Someone teach me how to program. For real though, if anyone could teach me how to program. Is this where I should have like an agent farm that's automatically spinning up get work trees and doing all these things independently? Should I be just casting sub-agents to do this stuff? Should I be writing a specification? I don't know. We're playing it dirty while Rook finds its shape. Hmm. 5 minutes till dinner. I gotta go downstairs soon.
Removed site registry support?
Go ahead and update agents.md like you had planned to do. You were correct. Yes, clean that up as well.
cleaned Wikipedia test references.
Okay. Update, or I'm sorry, don't update. Restart all the stuff. No, I meant for you to restart the server and the Mac app. Of course there's an error. Hi. I think I just killed a tab that killed this. Nope, guess not. I'm confused. Oh, okay, we're gonna call it for today. I did not get to the environment stuff, which sucks. I'm gonna do my little monologue. All right, so was this a good day or not? I set out to quickly finish up a to-do app that I was building for Obsidian, and I have made something that looks really sweet. You can drag stuff around, but also the agent sitting over here can see stuff and drag it around, modify stuff. You can work together on a thing. That's a big deal for me. But it took freaking forever. I got sucked into building another app rather than actually working on Rook. Not completely time is spent because now I do have a nice to-do board for some of the things that I'm going to be doing. And it really helped me think through the notion of environments. Obsidian is an environment. This particular Obsidian Vault is an environment. Environments within Obsidian that have a to-do plugin is an environment. And each of these environments come associated with certain skills, capabilities, maybe even applications, plugins in this case. And so what I have to do tomorrow is go to the environment repository, modularize that. Right now it's just like a thing on my disk, but it needs to actually have a way of interacting with it through JavaScript. The agent needs to be able to interact with it on disk, so it's going to be a little bit different for the agent. But there's going to be a canonical environment repository which carries all the skills of, whatever the community, if that happens, agrees on. And then there's going to be a local environmental repository where, like, if I'm teaching the thing skills, it will inject them into the right environments so that next time I go to this notebook, it's just there. It also kind of has opened my eyes to how the environmental repository capabilities need to be kind of like squished together. A capability is going to be skills or MCP server or new thing from today, even in an application. But sometimes these things have to be like collected together. Like one skill might be associated with the plugin that you can use here. And so those need to be taken as one chunk. You can't just take the skills for a plugin that you didn't install. So tomorrow is working on the environmental repository, and that's going to get me thinking about like state changes in the environment, stuff like that. I want the agent to be able to see the world it's inhabiting. All right. Probably should have used the monologue screen for that, but I'm learning every day.